All right, I have my rant shirt on, and there's a good reason for it. It's because we have the whales out again talking about things that they have no idea what they're talking about, and that would be anything involving PvP in any video game ever. So, yeah, this is going to be a good one. So this one is from Montoya, who says Jesse calls for CIG to change their PvP tier 0 idea, and it's not just going to be from Montoya. There's the poets on Twitter who made a comment as well, and this stuff is just, I mean, it's so insanely just disconnected and selfish. So I saw Montoya's Twitter post. I haven't exactly seen Montoya's video where he's already made his opinions and now he's going to make a video on it. So yeah, I'm going to start this out with, it's very simple. There has to be a world where both people who don't have a lot of time and people who do have a lot of time can enjoy the game. And that's always the place I've come from. Not PvP hellscape, which is what people like Montoya and others will say the game will become or has become, and all these other things. So just keep that in mind. Is I don't even PvP. I mine, I salvage, I want to do crafting, I want to do I don't want to say exploration, but because I don't think exploration will exist in the way people think it will, but anything economy wise, right? That's what I'm trying to do, but not PvP. And I just understand how PvP fits in the ecosystem of a video game like Star Citizen could be. Not like what it is now, but what it could be. All right. So let's start out with the Montoya video. And again, this all came from a tweet from this guy, Jese. So let's see where this all goes.
This is Jesse. He doesn't like the current T0 implementation of looting in Star Citizen. Everyone is fighting. Let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Montoya. Like and subscribe, blah, blah. You know the rest. This is Jesse, and he's got some things to say about T0 of looting, which he's not a fan of. First of all, let's give a quick shout out to local business in Raleigh, North Carolina, my old home state.
I didn't even know this.
Support local business there. And PowerGPU.
I thought he was sponsored by it based on his tweet. Oh, that's awesome.
Makes
I've heard of this
pre-builts
company.
and very pretty ones with lights and things. Not only that, but it comes with parts and labor warranty with lifetime support. I've actually heard of PowerGPU, and I know some people have actually bought their products and are very happy with them. So good work on that, Jesse, and I'm glad to see you are a Star Citizen fan. So let's hear what Jesse has to say, and then we'll comment.
All right, so this video is for the Star Citizen community. I've seen a lot of back and forth on the whole PvP side of things and how they're changing things drastically. The most recent one was I think it's tier 0 is what they call it. So when you loot someone, when you kill them, you can't take their gear or their weapons. All you can take is their ammo, or whatever they had in their backpack, and that's pretty much it. So that change that they did, me personally, I don't like it.
That's fine. I think you can have an opinion, and a lot of people have indicated theirs. I've spoken about this topic many times in the past also, and as you can see by my response there,
hold on. Let's read his response. You could not be more wrong. With full loot PvP, players just wear hospital gowns. Not true. But they don't wear their fancy gear that they bought on the website, or they won't even wear their gear that they like in the game. Right? They don't even wear their gear that they like in the game. That is definitely a thing. And like BB says, I responded with why the gear fear. It's not gear fear. That's not the same thing. This is, again, not a Montoya problem, not a Jesse problem, not a me problem, not a any of you problem. This is a foundational problem with Star Citizen and their funding model and their development. Those two things alone. So Montoya, if you're listening to this, Jesse, if you're listening to this, if I disagree with anything you're saying, or anybody else, none of this frustration is really directed at you. It's actually directed at the company, because they're the problem. They're allowing this to happen. They're allowing these frustrations for both you and me. And for some reason, we're directing the hatred towards each other instead of where it actually should be. Wow, this feels like politics. It's crazy. All I wore is the NPC armors for bunkers. You know what? Me too, but just because it was fun. There was also contested zones where I would just go right to the shop when I died and buy another Morozov and go again, right? And that actually wasn't so bad. That was actually pretty good because they raised the price of the Morozovs, so it actually felt like, hey, I felt a little pain. I don't want to lose this gear, because if I started at 0, like early in the contested zones, it was like, oh shit, I'm starting to run out of money, right? That was pretty good. No way am I wearing my executive set. What's the point of risking it? You would never wear it anyway because it's shitty armor. If you're wearing an executive set to a bunker, it's because the game fucking sucks and you can't play against AI that just, you're not going to lose against AI that just stand there, right? Congratulations. You're never going to wear it anyway because it's shitty armor and it's just a trophy, which is all it ever was supposed to be. And since when was Star Citizen ever made to be a PvP looter shooter? Maybe this is responding to something that Jesse said. I have no idea. But I mean, should I bring it up? Like, I know where this idea came from. Let's bring it up. I know exactly where this idea is coming from. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me do it here. We'll go here. I'll bring it up. But yeah, I just want to be very clear that this is the issue here, right? Let's go Star Citizen on YouTube. And let's go to their YouTube channel. And then let's go, sorry for that. And let's go to playlists. And then let's go to, where do they have them? They used to have a playlist of all, I think it's called Playable Now. This is actually funny. It's literally called Playable Now. Let's go to Playable Now. And let's go down to the playlist of 315. It's literally called Deadly Consequences. Let's take a minute and 35 seconds and watch this video together. Maybe this is where the idea came from. Oh, I have it lowered so it didn't blow your ears out. Here you go.
You suffered a catastrophic injury, but you're okay now. Now don't rush anything. You're free to go when you feel comfortable.
Man, why would I run back to my medical ship if there was nothing to lose when I died? Oh, man. Does this undermine medical gameplay? Perhaps it does. Looting? What's that? Anybody fly this thing? Lots of people fly this thing. Deadly consequences. Deadly consequences. Maybe that's where we came up with that idea. All right, sorry, it's a playlist, so it's playing all the rest. Maybe that's where we came up with that idea of PvP looter shooter a little bit.
We took
maybe that's where we came up with it.
A fucking
Problem
hour
with the current
of our
implementation.
night to set
I
this
think
up.
it's perfectly fine. I like wearing the kit. So,
Okay.
And as you can see by my response there, I have no problem with the current implementation. I think it's perfectly fine.
Of course you don't, because you don't play the game. And you don't PvP.
I like wearing the kit.
I'm making assumptions here, but I think it's a pretty obvious assumption because I've never seen his name in a server. I've never seen a video of him actually playing the game. I've seen a video of him looking at Twitter posts a lot.
And gear I'm wearing and being able to still have it after you trip and fall off the ladder and die, as happens many times in the game.
So we're totally fine because we don't want to lose stuff from tripping over a ladder and dying, but all of the conversation is around PvP. Now, again, I want to sit here and say, again, I see where these people are coming from, but where is the issue? The issue lies with CIG. You should be able to lose armor, but you should not be losing your cosmetics. But what did CIG do? The obvious worst possible decision of all time, and sell you items and not cosmetics. It's so ridiculously stupid. And people like Montoya should not be complaining to Jesse or me or any other PvPer that we're the problem that they're losing their stuff. The problem and the reason you're losing your stuff is because of the really stupid company that you're supporting that is doing really stupid things consistently. That's the problem. It's not a skill issue. Go play the game. It's filled with desync. You could literally be standing still in a corner, somebody see you and you just die randomly, right? Like there's a billion problems, but they have to build for when the game is good. There should be cosmetics in the game so you can express yourself and make yourself look any way you want. That's how it should be. That's how it always should have been. And then you can have your deadly consequences for dying, like losing some gear that you earned in the game that you didn't buy on the website. It is so stupid that we are having these conversations. It is so ridiculous. And it is like blatantly obvious that the people who are arguing on the side of, I don't want to lose my gear, would never lose it anyway because you don't even log into the game.
I don't know why they did it. There needs to be a high risk, high reward when it comes to PvP. If I kill someone or someone kills me,
or at least you don't leave your hangar,
should have the reward of that person's gear.
This is where I think a lot of us may differ. For me,
it's gonna
PvP
be.
in Star Citizen is not about the trinkets and the gear you're wearing. PvP in Star Citizen, in the broader picture, is going to be about resources. It's fighting for resources and territory. That's where I see the game.
This is how it's so obvious that they don't know and they don't get it. Right? This is why it's super obvious that he doesn't get it. What do you do with the resources if they put them in the game, Montoya? What do you do with them? What do you do with them? I know he's like I see it in chat, brother in Christ, that's PlanetSide 2. He's a PlanetSide 2 guy, right? So that's where he comes from. I come from more along the lines of what Star Citizen is becoming. Now, it's not becoming anything close to what I would like, which is why I'm pretty vocal on this channel about certain things, right? But it's also not becoming PlanetSide 2. So it's kind of, it's somewhere in between in this like weird middle ground that doesn't make any sense, right? So you don't fight over resources if you don't use them. And in the current explanation of where we are in Star Citizen, the only thing that you do with resources is recover the shit that you bought on the website? Is that a game? What? Is that the game that we thought was going to change everything? That they don't have a publisher and they were going to do something different? They sure are doing something different, but not in a good way, right? So if we're fighting over resources just to recover our pledge store purchases, because the pledge store purchases are way better and way more, like you just can't lose them necessarily. Is that a good thing? I don't think so, right? So if Montoya feels that we're going to fight over resources, well, what do you do with those resources? You have to be able to craft things that you fight over the resources with. Like, that's literally how it has to work. It has to work in a circle. Otherwise, it's a line that either goes like this into pure inflation or like this into nobody playing, right? Like, it's just like, it's so obvious that like we don't play MMOs, right? It's very clear to me that we don't play MMOs, or we've played MMOs like World of Warcraft, which do the inflation thing, right? They do the thing where it's, oh, hey, all that gear that you earned in the last patch or whatever, the last expansion, throw that away. That's not worth anything. You got to earn the new thing now, right? And I don't personally like those type of MMOs. Now, if he was arguing for that, that would be more of a different of an opinion, instead of just being blatantly just completely not understanding the point of the PvPer. The PvPer wants to be fighting over something that is real and tangible in the game world, right? Not in real life. Unfortunately, the only things that we have in Star Citizen fall in this weird middle ground of being tangible in the game world and in real life, because they have a monetary value attached to them. And it's not a monetary value like Eve attaches things to based off of Plex. It is literally bought with a credit card. That ship transaction goes directly from your credit card into your hangar. It's not a good thing, okay? So this is where he is. It's not a differing of an opinion. It is, you are blatantly wrong on this subject of that is what PvP. Well, he might be right that that's what PvP will be, and he might be right that that's what CIG is going for, but it won't work, because eventually it's just going to be, the circle will be, I am mining, I am salvaging, I am doing these things just to get my gear back when I lose them to an NPC, because you're not going to be having any sort of risk and reward or competitive nature against anything in that, I don't believe, at least, right? So maybe it is a differing of an opinion, but it's, I think he's just misunderstanding the subject and doesn't have any experience with it, or not enough. I don't consider PlanetSide 2 an MMO in that same vein as we're all kind of in the same game world at the same time, and what we like it just isn't, like, it is but it isn't kind of thing. But all right, let's continue. Again, I just want to make sure that we understand that I want you to be able to buy things on the website, and I want you to be able to feel cool, and I want you to be able to look cool, and I want the game to make a ton of money, because it is obviously going to take a ton of money to make a game like Star Citizen. But you're not going to make a game like Star Citizen if your entire game is about working around the pledge store. Like, it's just crazy.
Game going. So when I say I don't really care about how things are right now, because I am not interested in your helmet. I am not interested in your shotgun. I have those things already. I have the Gold Sniper Rifle. I don't need yours. That's where I'm coming from on this. The bigger picture is
What about the people who don't have it? Like, again, this is just so blatantly obvious that, like, you have no interest in playing video games at all. I don't need it because I swiped a credit card. How fucking ridiculous is that? Right? What about the people who didn't? They literally cannot get that from somebody, right? And what does the gold sniper rifle represent? And this is, again, where we need to, like, take a step back and not be me about things. We have to look at everybody, right? I have the gold sniper rifle too. I do. We both do. Okay? But the difference here is the gold sniper rifle for now, because all of the guns are on the same playing field for the most part, and there's no, like, again, we're living in a world where the game isn't done, so we're always going to be arguing about what is the future and not what is the present. In the present, Tier 0, literally, it doesn't make the game more enjoyable, it makes the game less enjoyable, and I think that's what PvPers are frustrated about. But Tier 1 and 2 don't make the game that much better, right? The gear fear is real. It is not about gear fear. This is cosmetic stuff. You should not be losing cosmetic items, right? And it's not about gear fear. Gear fear would exist if there was actually gear in Star Citizen. Gear fear would exist if you played the game and you got better gear in Star Citizen. I never have heard Montoya complain about losing a tweaker attachment on a gun. I've never heard him complain about losing a tweaker attachment. I've never heard him complain about losing a scorched attachment because he doesn't play the game, right? And most of these people do not. And that is really one of the only examples I've ever seen of people playing the game, earning something of value, and then having a chance to lose it. And we never hear them complain about that because they don't even yeah, exactly. They may not even know what those things are, right? And that's the only representation that we have of launch into the game, earn something in the game that you could potentially lose. Now you can't, right? So that's sort of the argument here is you had contested zones where it was like, holy shit, that 315 video actually makes sense now for the first time ever, right? And then immediately the next patch, it was completely gone. So it was kind of like, you know, it was like a PvPers all of a sudden started going 200 miles an hour and then got into a, 50G car crash. And it's just like, what is happening here? Right? So you have to understand the mentality of PvPers right now. It's like, wow, everything around this game is now showing like, hey, we're in Pyro. There's some risk and reward. And then people like Montoya and many others, like, just to be clear, there are many people who supported this game and feel that they deserve to keep the stuff that they supported the game from. And they're right. They do. You spent real money on this stuff. You absolutely should get it back. Of course. Let me just turn off the alert sound. Sorry. Yeah, we can't have you guys just randomly talking over me while I'm talking. I do appreciate the support though. So we'll play those later after the video. But the idea here of you spent money, therefore I don't think the game should have any consequences for dying is the conversation that we're having here. We absolutely should have consequences for dying, and we currently don't. And honestly, it doesn't look like we're ever going to have any strong consequences for dying outside of the underlying horrible game design that we have now, which is spawn at a location, get on a tram, go down your elevator to your hangar, wait for your ship to spawn, get in your ship, sit in a queue, get out of atmosphere, and then go back to doing what you were doing before, right? There's your problem. Hopefully base building will fix that. Hopefully some of the stuff with hopefully they start addressing logging out a little bit better and things like that. And then we can probably solve some of those problems, right? Now the risk isn't so bad because I can just get right back in. I always bedlog to avoid base. Yeah, but what about people who play in a group? Can they bedlog all together in Idris? No, only the owner can, right? And I don't even think the owner can if other people are on it. There's tons of problems there. So, yeah. This is really dumb. Really dumb on so many levels, and we're not looking at the underlying problems of the video game. We're looking at each other. We need to stop doing that. Keep looking at the really stupid decisions that these people made with your money that you got your gold sniper rifle with. They've made really dumb decisions with it. And here we are, and you're essentially defending them, right? We're essentially defending them. Ah, fuck, I timed out a guy that I didn't want to. Hold on. Stop spamming in the chat. What was the name? Stone. Sorry, Stone. Untimed out. So the yeah, it's just really, really stupid with some of these things. There has to be I get in the game, I work towards things, and think about like the worm right now, right? It was pretty easy. I haven't played the new PTUs where they've made it a little bit harder. Hopefully there's a chance that you can wipe with the group of like 4 or 5 that they're looking for. And yeah, and then there would be a consequence for you dying to that character, right? I don't care if it's, hey, the radiation ruins that armor and you can't use it anymore. But again, that would be horrible. Like, let's take a PvE situation and apply it to the exact situation that Montoya is talking about here. This is a horrible thing if you die to the worm and your armor takes radiation damage and it actually ruins his gold armor and he can never wear it or use it again. Right? That's a bad thing. That's a horrible thing. We don't want that at all, right? And neither does he. We want the same things. I want you to apply your gold armor to any light armor so you can look like a badass and you can show off that you supported the project early on and for a lot of money. Thank you for that, right? And so could I. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being proud of supporting something that we all want to be great? Nothing. But we have to support the game itself. And this mentality does not. This supports the pledge store. And that's it. And we're not recognizing that if you have a good game that a person like Jese wants to play, as well as a person like Montoya, then we have a really popular game. How much money would a really popular game make? A lot more than they're making now.
What people are missing is that the PvP will come down to the fight for resources. Feel free to disagree, but that's where it's going to be going.
Yeah, he says, feel free to disagree, but that's where it's going to be going. I know he has devs in his org, so he probably knows some information there that we don't, right? He just straight up factually says that's where it's going. I'm assuming maybe he thinks that's where it's going. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. If it goes there, I don't think the game is going to be good if you tie it to the other aspects of the game. Or he's using the example from CitizenCon about there's better material in Pyro, and then people will fight over that. But again, if you've bought your F7A Mark II, do you need to build another one? The one piece of the puzzle that we don't really know about yet is when Montoya dies in his F7A Mark II, or I'm sure he'll get an F7X or whatever it is that's going to be coming up at some point. If it's level 5, will he go down to level 1? And does he have to craft back up to that? I think that's a decent-ish middle ground to maintain the pledge store ship purchases and still have risk and reward in the game and still allow players who want to craft for other people to be able to do that. But I don't think a person like Montoya would like that, right? Just based off of any of the conversations that he's had now. We kind of have to find that middle ground of where we are with ship sales, because every ship that's purchased now does affect the game on launch and post-launch. So, I don't think ship sales can go anywhere, and I think this is why people are super upset about things like Tier 0, ship blades, or flight blades, and the additional bomb racks and all those other things, which, by the way, bomb racks are still not in the store yet, but the flight blades are in the in-game store. Interesting.
Period. If you have a PvE/PvP focused game and it's open world, there should not be anything behind some sort of you kill someone, you can't take their gear. That just makes no sense. So, me personally, they need to revert.
So he says it makes no sense that if you kill someone, you don't get their gear. But then he goes on to talk about Destiny 2. Now, in Destiny, unless something's changed, because I haven't played in a couple of years, the weapons you have and the gear you wear are yours. You don't lose them when they drop. If something's changed in Destiny I'm not aware of, let me know. But he'll talk about that briefly now, too.
I think Montoya's right about this. You can't go to Destiny 2 and make an argument here about gear. Because Destiny is not like a Tarkov looter shooter. It's like it's like a console looter. It's a casual looter shooter, right? So but Montoya's literally saying what you guys are saying, right? Like give him the credit here. Like, hey, we disagreed with him a lot. How do you go to Destiny 2 and it's like literally a PvE game? Is there loss to your character when you die?
That if you start messing with the PvP community, especially that most of the content creators that stream this game are heavily focused on PvP, you will kill off your game.
Disagree. The reason
how do you disagree with facts? Anybody who has an audience in this game besides me is a PvP focused streamer. It's literally a fact. And then there's Knable. How am I PvP adjacent? I literally just mine and salvage on stream. And Red Monster. There you go. There's another one. But a majority of people are PvP focused. All right. Do we have wrong? All right, let's get the facts out. Instead of making assumptions, let's get some facts out. It's okay. We'll do some facts. Star Citizen the game. Let's get the Twitch stats out. All good, folks. Most watched streamers. I think that's what this is. Okay, Knebel, not PvP focused. I don't believe, but might do it a little bit. Don't watch the stream because it's in German, so I don't understand. Burks, PvP focused. Maybe we need to do something a little different. Let's do in the last 180 days, right? Because that'll give a little bit more context to this here. Because people who just come in and have like a lot of watch time in the last 3 days doesn't help anybody. Knebel does Spectrum PvP. I literally don't know anything about his stream, so he may legitimately PvP. Arcvenger, don't know him. Because again, Spanish community, maybe he PvPs. Myself, I don't. Burks does. Tarada absolutely can, so he probably does. Oh, Czech, German, Spanish. See, these are going to be tough for me. I don't actually know. Hitbo PvPs. 5-star. The watch time he's a 24-hour channel. Enterprise doesn't. Expat can, but is not focused on that as much. Herb does. Chat to Chaos does. I believe Chat to Chaos does. Zero State does. Hugo, not as much. Spooner does. Darklaw does. Cutlet does. Becky on Blast, I don't think does. Burke Black is just checking out the game. Marcus the Way, I don't know. Clean, probably just checking out the game, but would. Deadly Slob, just checking out the game, but would. Like, these are Tarkov people. Like, they PvP. Astropub, no. Bog, yes. Red, no. Right? Astropub PvPs? Okay. I'm assuming I've only ever seen the podcast, like when I watch Astropub, so I don't know. Zamineer, maybe. I think maybe. Is that a majority? I think we give this one to Montoya. And I think this is bias here to what I watch. So we'll give this one to Montoya. Instead of making any assumptions, we'll just go with that. Seems about close to 50-50. But again, we don't know what these non-English speaking communities do. Or you might. I don't. So, yeah. It really depends on what the non-English speakers are doing. Because obviously I can't watch them to find out. So, let's go.
Why most content creators focus on PvP is because that is what sells. At the moment in Star Citizen.
Well, okay, I think we just proved that that's not what sells. And again, in the last 180 days, I'm the third most watched streamer there. I don't PvP. So what's selling on my channel? I'm sure the comments will say hate, but it's not. It's very clearly conversation and actually being a content creator and streaming. There's a difference between streaming and playing games. And yeah, I think it's very, very different.
There's not much to do. I mean, you can go mining, but there is no real exploration. And I don't think, well, yeah, there are some content creators that just mine.
I think you just realized that I exist in this conversation.
Watch any of that. So I think maybe a better example would be this. If there are two equal content creators, one is engaging in a massive space battle and one is just mining a rock, I think most people will gravitate towards the PvP, not the PvE thing. And
of course. And what does that do? Like, if there's massive space battles in the game, I mean, Detox versus SaltEMike is a great example. On Twitch, Do I do better than why was Detox not on that list? On Twitch, do I have more viewers than Detox? No. On YouTube? Boys, how's Detox doing? Detox multi-streams. Okay, and if I multi-stream, then what? Right? I don't multi-stream. If I did, then what would happen? Right? I have more on both. Buddy, Detox's views on YouTube are fantastic because he makes fantastic YouTube videos. Right? And they're combat focused. But that's not really the point of this. Is it's, well, I guess it is, right? Is he's storytelling, and he's using the game to tell a story, and this is something that we always talked about, him and I, right? Is that like if you just let the game get there, people like you're always going to explode past somebody like myself because you're actually doing like amazing content. It's just a matter of people starting to figure out that it exists, right? And that it's possible, and the game to be a little bit better. Now imagine if you can actually have a winner and a loser. Imagine that.
Majority of the marketing in this game is you and me. It's us talking about Star Citizen. That's how they're marketing the game right now. So
Yeah,
the
that's
more
true.
people that are shooting things with spaceships and there's lasers and rockets and torpedoes and explosions, that attracts eyeballs, and that is what markets the game. So they will focus on the PvP aspect as a selling feature.
They're literally doing the opposite. What is, like, is he undermining his own fucking arguments here? They're literally doing the opposite by killing PvP left and right. They, and I believe the reason that Jesse made this post is because he saw that Jared said that PvP is not dead after tier 0, not hurting after tier 0, because they don't, they're very similar in that company to, you know, the conversations that we're having here about people who just talk about Star Citizen and don't play it. And that is, they have no idea that PvP is hurting. They just made Hathor, which is an event everybody wanted to do, so it seems like more people are PvPing. And yes, more people are getting out there and they're going to go and PvP when there's no risk, but they don't realize that in the long term, they're probably hurting the game significantly by making these choices, right? And again, I believe that people who do not want a PvP should not have to. They should have a place that they can go, and their rewards should not be significant. And if you want to take the jump point into Pyro and take the risk, then your rewards should be plentiful, but your risk should be high. Does anyone disagree with that? Like, why would anyone disagree with that? I have no idea. Like, go stay in Stanton, do your thing over there. It's the entitlement of, I bought an Idris, I bought a Polaris, I bought this, I want. But we need to have the conversation of where I don't PvP, I will jump through the jump point and take the risk, but I'm going to die a lot, right? And it's going to suck, and I'm going to get mad. But that's what risk is all about. Right? And, you know, I'm going to take that stuff and I'm going to bring it right back into Stanton where I can safely turn it into something I can sell to other people or something like that, right? I mean, again, who knows if these things are possible, but, man.
It's just how it is.
I mean, Star Citizen's a little different. It might not kill off the game. It'll definitely slow it down, hinder it a little bit on player count.
Basically saying that if you focus on the PvE side, you kill for the game. I disagree with that. The game is broad enough. This game is massively broad that there will be
he's right about
enough PvP and enough PvE far enough from each other to keep everyone satisfied.
But it doesn't feel that way right now, right? And I think that's the issue. Like, that's where him and I are going to agree completely that it needs to be more like that now. Like, you have a Stanton, you have a Pyro. Like, we need to kind of maybe simulate that a little bit more now and show people that are less risk averse that, hey, you just stay over here. You could do your mining over here. You could do your salvage over here. You could do your mission running over here. And there's a lot of cool shit over there, though, right? There's a lot of cool stuff over there that you might want to get. So if you jump through that jump point, that's where the PvP will be. And that's sort of what I want to see a little bit more of. Is I would thoughts on this. If tier 0, 1, 2, and 3 existed in a Stanton, Terra, Castra, but did not exist in a Pyro and Nyx with our 1.0 launch. Would anyone have issues with... You literally lose your pledge ships if you go there, so don't bring them there. Blaring fucking sirens. Don't jump through this jump gate with we spot a pledge ship. We spot a pledge ship. Do not jump through this jump gate or you will lose this. Warning, warning, warning. Right? Does maybe that'll make them legally like okay that they can't do that? Is that a good middle ground? I'm just putting that out there. I don't know if that's the best idea or not. I'm just kind of throwing that out there because, like, how do we coexist? How do we coexist? That's kind of what I'd like to see, right? And I know you're making RuneScape references, right? Maybe you can't even go through the gate in a pledge ship just to prevent this feeling from people. And then they have to buy a ship from a player. I don't know. Maybe it just prevents them. Yeah, because a lot of people are saying you think gamers read. They might just skip right through it. Just don't allow a pledge ship there. I don't know. Maybe you do something like that.
Well, I haven't seen a poll in a while, but in polls in the past where they asked, are you more PvE focused or do you want to focus more on PvP? The PvE crowd is massive. A big majority.
Yeah, 100%. Way
well
bigger.
Over 60 to 70% in the polls I've seen in the past have been more PvE focused. Not saying that they...
Yeah, and when he means PvE, he means anything other than PvE. Or PvP, and he's 100% right. It's way bigger. The PvP community is always going to be smaller, but they're always going to be the ones who are playing the most, right? Most likely. Those are going to be your... Well, I think it's better to use hardcore versus casual, and I know people take that negatively, but it's more like, let's just use time dedication, right, towards the game. Or dedication towards the game. And we'll use hardcore for people who dedicate a lot and casual for people who can't dedicate a lot. No negativity on either side, just reality, right? There's going to be PvEers that hardcore play as well, right? Why do you think PvPers play more than PvEers? I'm kind of backtracking on that. I realized very quickly that I'm way more meaning hardcore versus casual, and I'm applying hardcore to PvPer, and that's not necessarily fair. There's speedrunners in MMOs and things like that too, right? Like the highest I played. Oh my God, what was the Amazon MMO? It's just the name is New World. So I played New World, right? And I got to the second level of the dungeon running, but the third level was like really hardcore and people would speedrun that. And it was like really, it was like pretty hardcore for a PvE experience, right? It was really challenging and you had to be super on point. I wasn't good enough to do that. And I didn't have good enough gear for that either. And like, that's a PvE experience that is pretty cool, right? And I actually would watch YouTube videos on that. It was pretty cool. Name a PvP game that are empty. I think there's plenty of bad video games out there, but I can name some games that have PvP that are full. I mean, EVE Online is pretty darn busy. There's a massive war going on right now, right? Like across all of the alliances in the game or coalitions or whatever they're called. So it's popping right now. Rust is really busy. Rust was brought up in another post, so don't worry, we're gonna get to that.
Only want PvE, but they mostly want to do PvE with PvP sprinkled in when you can. So I think
he's right about this.
That a less of a PvP experience would kill this game. This is not a shooter, nor was the game sold as a shooter, a looter shooter, or an extraction shooter.
Again, I've already proved that to be wrong. That 315 video, let's see. 100K views, 170, 170, 317.2. I'm just curious, like I wonder, oh, the playlist doesn't go back. Here, let's mute this for a second and let's look at the views on these. All right. I'd be curious. Nope, 315 is about the same. 175. I was just curious, like, did that one get more views? Did that get people more excited? And no. But I was curious because I feel like the excitement around the game in 315 was like, holy, we can loot NPCs, we can loot players, the gear is going to start mattering, there's going to be progression, and then nothing happened. And then the moment they put in tweaker attachments where they actually did something worth looting, immediately the next patch they took it away with tier 0 item recovery. That's why PvPers are so upset. Is it from 315 till 4.0, literally nothing happened on the looting standpoint. And the moment there was something worth going for, and we thought that they would continue to add to that, number one, they didn't. Number two, they immediately were like, oh, you only need to ever get one tweaker attachment. You only ever need to get one scorched 4X that has way better ADS time. But I'm sure many of the, oh, sorry, I have it muted. Many of the whales don't know that.
As a shooter, a looter shooter, or an extraction shooter. And I disagree with him on that part.
For sure, because that's one of the things that threw me off, or actually upset me for a lot of the games in the past, like Destiny 2. It was hard to get gear. It was very unique to get the Trials gear with the ornaments, all that stuff, Trials of the 9. And every week I'd go flawless, I'd enjoy my gear, and it was very hard. It was very unique.
Sure, but Destiny 2 players, just refresh me if I'm wrong here, but you don't lose your gear when you die, do you?
No.
Maybe something's changed.
But he's not again, like, you're not listening to the point. You're focused on the wrong things. He's just talking about the casualization of games like this because of people who argue they don't have enough time, or I want, right? And to some extent, in a game like Destiny 2, maybe, it might have been a large percentage of their player base that were unable to get whatever he's talking about there. I don't play the game, so I don't know. So my guess would be, well, we have to make this easier. And then what does that do? Your hardcore player base gets bored. There has to be a situation in games where hardcore player bases are actively engaged with the game and enjoying the game, and non-hardcore player bases are actively engaged with the game and enjoying it. That's when you have a really good game, right? And that is a recipe that is actually impossible to do. So I don't think we'll ever achieve that. The goal would be to try to get there. CIG is very clearly not trying to. Honestly, again, as an EVE player, that's probably the closest game that I've seen that has been pretty good about that, because I jumped into a game 20 years later and was able to participate in the economy in a meaningful way as a single account noob. So that's probably the closest game that I've seen succeed at that. Albion as well. Albion's really good at that as well. You know what? Albion probably has the best example of, I can start out in the game in a PvE zone, no risk whatsoever. I can farm, I can do stuff, I can level my character, I can do all sorts of things in these zones and be able to play that game. So again, I don't see Montoya bringing up too many other games on his channel other than PlanetSide 2 ever. So I think Albion is probably one of the better examples of, like, hey, you have your casual players engaged with the game, you have your hardcore players engaged in the game. And again, no negativity on either side of that designation for players. It's more of just time dedication or risk adverseness, right? You can just apply those two hand in hand.
But I don't recall my gear being dropped unless it's something new.
You like totally unforgiving games. I don't. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I do, but I don't. And I like to have the choice. Like if I'm not feeling like having an unforgiving feeling in this moment, I can go to the blue zones in Albion, right? And I could just chill for the day. I feel like we need that in Star Citizen, because then the people who do like unforgiving aspects of the game, we can be in Pyro if we want to be in that moment. But if we don't, we can be in Stanton or Terra or something like that. Like I feel like we need a little bit more of that, and that's sort of the problem that we're having here. Is it is not a mentality issue as much as it is a game design issue. That's where we're at. And you've given thousands and thousands of dollars, millions and millions of dollars, nearly $1 billion to a company who has done nothing but make fucking mistakes with it, right? And that's the problem here. We're not comparing Destiny 2 to Star Citizen. We're comparing the casualization of a video game. That is the comparison that Jesse is making here. Stop being dense. Please, you're being really dense and you're putting a wall up. You have to hear not the words that the person is saying necessarily. You have to listen to the point the person is making. I will play it again. He is talking about, I used to work really hard for these things, and now they casualized it, and now I'm not, like, the things that I worked really hard for are not worth working really hard for because they're not unique, they're not special, they're not hard to get. Listen to the words that he just said. So we will go ahead and listen to that again, and then you can not make a giant thing and at me in it and be completely like missing the point. I really want you to understand the point, okay?
Or actually upset me for a lot of the games in the past, like Destiny 2. It was hard to get gear. It was very unique to get the Trials gear with the ornaments.
It was very unique to get the Trials gear with the ornaments. I have no fucking clue what that is, but I know that he worked really hard to get it. Okay?
All that stuff, Trials of the Nine. And every week I'd go flawless. I'd enjoy my gear, and it was very hard. It was very unique.
Sure, but Destiny 2 players, just refresh me if I'm wrong here.
Completely missing the point.
You don't lose your gear when you die, do you? Maybe something's changed, but I don't recall my gear being dropped unless it's something new.
He just wants something to play the game for, right?
And everyone started getting gear because they made it a lot easier. They made the raids easier. They made a lot of things.
And again, you don't lose your gear. So we like remove that part of the conversation out of here. He's talking about there is something that I was working really hard for, and the reason I worked really hard for it is because it's hard to get. And somebody who's the Montoya type, who, you know, he's got kids or whatever, he doesn't have time to do these things. That is not for you, Montoya. Like, that is for Jesse, right? And some of the gameplay has to be only for Jesse, and some of the gameplay has to be for everybody like you. And you can't cry in the corner, and I'm not saying that's what Montoya is doing, but a lot of people do, right? Is they cry in the corner saying, boo-hoo, I don't get to get my ornaments or whatever the hell those things are. And then the company bows down and says, fine, we'll let you have the ornaments, you know, because they know their game will die if they don't, right? And that is where you can't make the comparison to Destiny and Star Citizen, is because you kind of can get those ornaments in an MMO, right? Like that's where the disconnect stops. Is in a good MMO, the Jesses of the world play a lot. And how they make their money is by selling the stuff to the people who don't play a lot. And those people might buy currency. They might, grind for a really long time, save up some money, and get that ornament from Jesse or something like that, right? But they do it in the safe place where it takes a lot longer to get there, right? Like, that's how a lot of those games work. It's kind of more of a symbiotic thing where a person who has less time or is less risk averse can actually buy something from the person who has more time or is more risk averse and does those things, right? That's how I played Ultima Online. That's how I played Albion Online, and so on and so forth. So yeah, Eve as well.
It's easier. Same.
For example, I don't think I can get ore miners in Eve. Like, I can't earn the loyalty points. Like, I literally cannot earn the reputation in Eve because it's my understanding that the stations where those ore representatives, that's a company in the game, by the way, that has the best mining lasers, right? It's my understanding that I can't even go and earn the reputation there because I'm in a different alliance than that owns that space. So I would just get killed every time I was there. So the only choice I have is to grind money and buy them from somebody who is selling them on the market, right? Is that a bad thing? No, I just earn my money that I earn money that way, and that's it. I might be getting that completely wrong, but I looked and I was pretty sure it was in space that I couldn't really go to, or otherwise, like it was hostile space. You can transfer LP. Yeah, but I can't go to the station and buy it, right? Because the station is in hostile space for me. And that hostile space was all created by the players themselves. You can, it's an NPC nullsec. Okay, yeah, okay. Ignore that point then, I got that one wrong. I looked it up and it looked like it was in hostile space for me. So I was like, oh, well, I'll never be able to earn this LP because I was actually looking for PvE content to do in EVE because I'm not super PvE centric. I'm not super PvE focused or PvP focused in MMOs when I first play them. When I get bored of the PvE stuff, that's when I start PvPing.
Same thing with Sea of Thieves. They started slowing down weapon changing. They started just making it more for the I don't know, I don't want to say casuals, but people that don't like PvP. And they would ask for PvP and PvE servers to be separated. They pretty much kill off the game that way too.
I mean,
but why do they do this stuff, Jesse? Like, here's the thing is I would imagine Destiny 2 was dying. I would imagine Sea of Thieves was dying because the hardcore players, they do it all super fast and then they get bored. And the studio can't keep up with the updates for hardcore players, right? So there has to be like this. Again, that's why like destruction is good in EVE because it's constantly churning. So it's I think that's why they make those decisions in games like that. Right? And it's not necessarily about PvP, it's about just challenge. There needs to be challenging things in games. And right now, the only challenge is, CIG does it as well, is we're going to put PvP in the area that you're in. We're going to allow PvP in the area that you're in to give you that challenge.
I made a video not long ago saying Star Citizen needs a PvE server, and a lot of people lost their minds about it. But you have to understand there is a demand for more PvE in this game, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm 100% on board with him on that. There needs to be more PvE content. There needs to be more PvE exclusive content.
Right now, as it stands, there is an issue with in-game policing of this kind of stuff. They don't have the mechanics, the game mechanics in place to police this environment. So,
and I'm dying for what PvE players to grind for is something that PvP players need. Oh, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Because then all of a sudden, these people that hate each other for no reason have to like each other a little bit. Because the PvE player is not going to use it, and the PvP player might.
It's basically a wide open PvP, which in a way is what Chris Roberts wanted in the first place. It's an area, the game is a sandbox where there is no real safe place. Yeah. You are always open to some sort of attack from somewhere. And there will, in time, come in-game mechanics which will discourage bad behavior. But for the time being, as it is right now,
there will be. It's 13 years in, and they have done nothing.
Wide open, and anyone can do whatever they want with fairly little repercussion.
So, just letting you know, CIG, please, as a looter-shooter game type style /MMO,
Star Citizen was never pitched as a looter shooter. Yes, the game has changed.
I mean, did looter shooters even exist when kind of, I guess?
Changed a lot from the initial idea of what it would be, but it is still not an extraction looter shooter where the goal is to get the helmet off that guy and that is your mission. That is not the goal of this game.
Yeah, and he's not wrong about that, right? He is not wrong about that at all. 100%. Right? It is not a extraction looter shooter, but we're focusing on the wrong things and going, but if I can't loot players, like I've said this many times before, if a player is able to respawn, like we're ignoring all the problems too. Like CIG instantly got humbled when they allowed players to respawn at a location on Pyro. Instantly got humbled. I don't even know how this gets to Evocati. It was the dumbest fucking idea I had seen them do yet, is allowing players to respawn at the final location where the worm spawns. So what did it turn into? People constantly shooting each other in beds. So then what did they have to do? They had to take it out of that location, spread it out so people couldn't possibly cover all that area, and make it easier for people to respawn. And I think it's okay because they understand that their game is so poorly designed, from the spawn in your hangar, or you don't even spawn in your hangar, spawn in the medical bed, spawn in your hab, take the elevator, go on the tram, go into the elevator, go into your hangar, call your ship up, wah, 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 call the hangar out, wait 30 minutes for your hangar queue, door opens sometimes, get out, 20 minutes to get out of atmosphere. Are we there yet? Right? We're not there yet. So they said, all right, well, we need to let these people respawn here. They recognize, hey, that's a problem. So let's do something about it, right? And they put the respawn right at that location. But with these dumbass decisions on tier 0 item recovery, there's no consequence to death. You die, you respawn, you die, you respawn, you die, you respawn. Like, even with the worm, you die, what happens? The worm doesn't reset. You just respawn and then kill it. It's so stupid.
You need to revert it back to where if I kill someone, I get their gear, or if someone kills me, they get my gear. It's too easy right now. There is no high risk, high reward.
No, listen, I would say that maybe in time there'll come a point where someone has a scope on their rifle, and that scope allows the rifle to have 300% more range.
Buddy, the time is now. You don't even know. You have no idea. It's literally now. It was literally in 4.0.
And he's the only person which has it, and you have to go and get him. At that point, I would say yes. But right now, all the gear is the same. There's no difference between your gold sniper rifle and my gold sniper rifle.
And that's how lost you are. Play the game, Montoya. Play the game. Oh, my God. Play the game, dude.
Other than yours is yours. So I don't see the drive for that, me personally. I really don't care what kit.
Yep, I literally shaking and vomiting.
You have, or what gear you have. I don't want your gear. I have my gear.
Yeah, and you bought your gear on the website, and we're not ignoring that. That is clearly not a good thing. Aren't we getting full loot back in tier 2? Again, I've explained this 50 fucking times, and I will explain it again. Montoya has his gold gun, all right? Congratulations. He has died with his gold gun. He has lost it. How does he get his gold gun back? How we understand he gets his gold gun back, he will press a button in his hangar or somewhere on a kiosk, right? And that button will potentially ask for money. That button will potentially ask for crafting materials. I think Wicklow is actually a test on how to get your gear back. That's what I believe, right? They have the ability to get their gear back that way. But how is that a good thing overall for the game that literally stated that they want what? A player-driven economy. So now what happens? Does Montoya go and mine that stuff? No. He plays Star Citizen on Twitter. So he's not going to do it. So what does he do? He goes and he buys it from another miner, maybe somebody in his org, something like that, right? All right, you're getting timed out. Literally Pride Month, dude. Jesus Christ. So I lost my train of thought. Okay, so he loses his gun, and let's say it asks for materials. Then how does he get those materials? He might get them from a miner. He might get them on the market. Sounds good, right? Great. Wrong. The reason that's not good is because people who are interested in the industry side of game, they might not just be interested in mining. And I can speak from experience from that, is I'm not just interested in mining. I am so excited for the moment that you take the ore that you mine with and you create it into something that other people want and other people want to use, right? That's really exciting for me. That's something I really want to do. I definitely have a bias in this situation, but my bias comes from an understanding of how these mechanics work in other games that have player-driven economies. One of the goals for Star Citizen, they have been stating that they want their economy more player-driven. Not entirely player-driven. They've even pointed out the 10% versus 90% very recently, right? So I am fully aware with that. Don't you worry, okay? But in what world is it fun to be a crafter if you're selling your gear to an NPC? You craft gear and then you sell it to an NPC, you make money. For what? What do you need money for, right? So there's not is supply and demand just going to be boxes that CIG ticks? It could be better, is my argument, right? And maybe it ends up being really good. I certainly hope I enjoy the game. I might enjoy the game if it's entirely simulated economy in Star Citizen. They haven't proven that they have any fucking clue what they're doing when it comes to economy whatsoever yet. So not really excited about the direction we're going in right now, right? But the idea here is, what if Montoya lost his gun and he was easily able to buy that gun from other players, right? Instantly lost his gun, respawned, clicks a button, has his gun back. What if he has a regular sniper rifle that he can apply his gold skin to every time he uses that gun? What if it's a default skin every time he uses his favorite style of sniper rifle? What if it just becomes gold? Is that a crazy concept that has never happened before? No. That's the argument here. Is him losing the item is not something that should be bothering him. Him losing the skin is what should be what bothers him. But we're applying the skin, the cosmetic, to the item and having it be one thing. Would he be okay if he clicked a button, it was incredibly cheap, a basic sniper rifle that there's tons of them on the market, right? That would be your 10 years, like my experience that I have in EVE, 10 years from now, I can, first time ever playing Star Citizen, or say I quit for a long time, right? And I'm playing another game and I come back with a brand new character. On day one, I could probably make those sniper rifles that he would be buying when he dies and make money that makes sense for a player that is brand new in the game. And I can engage in that, right? I can engage in that style of gameplay. And then he would be happy, and then I would be happy. Right? We see it right now with Wicklow, because I see it in chat. Or retrieve his special rifle. He needs or retrieving it. But I also see the idea of, like, I have to give a basic gun in order to create mine with the gold skin. That's why I believe Wicklow is a test for what will be item recovery. It really looks that way. I bring a basic gun, a Volt rifle, to Wicklow, and Wicklow applies the skin to it. Right? Does that not look like what item recovery is going to be? It certainly does. But we need to have the player be able to craft that item. And that's why loss needs to exist. So if CIG goes in that direction, that is a fantastic thing. And I'm looking at, I'm sorry, we're an hour into this, and it is literally a 2-minute Twitter video and a 13-minute Montoya video, but this is how strongly I feel about this, right? Now Montoya can lose his gun entirely, and if you remove the ability, right? If we remove the ability entirely to recover now, and I think that's what they're doing. Now, that could be what tier 2 is. And if that's what tier 2 is, I'm okay with it. And I think everybody else should be as well. And if that, like, that's where tier 0 is shit and you are fucking this game in the short term, we need to get to tier 2 as quickly as possible. You literally have it right in front of you. And if it is not a test for item recovery, it should be, right? Just asking who's Montoya. He is the leader of the biggest org in the game, Test Squadron. This is going on YouTube, yes. What's up, Toodleday? Good to see you. That's a very, very long time viewer from my first streams when I first started streaming. So hello to you, and I hope you're doing well. That is where this is if you have to, if Montoya loses his gun and the only way for him to get it back is to apply it essentially in a roundabout way in game, then we're good. What about ships? What about the components in your ships? What about the skin on your ship? Right? That's the next step. If we're doing that in a similar way, I don't think anybody would really have a problem with that, because then everybody would be valued in the game. And I'm starting to think that maybe am I misunderstanding what a warranty will be? Because if that is what a warranty will be, then I think I'm okay with it. So long as the warranty does not give back the player the base item. And I think that's the problem that I have with warranties, especially with ships, is you're going to get your base ship back. And then if you have the warranty on it, it applies everything back onto that. And that's where it breaks that circle of life. So I still think there's a problem with warranties, but maybe not. So hopefully we can get there. But yeah, I don't know if that was confusing for you guys, but yeah, maybe not.
So what he's saying, it doesn't jive with me. Do you agree with him?
There is no fear of dying. Literally, people are just running and gunning because if they die, who cares? They just...
Well, that's right. That's why the whole PvP thing is so easy. That's why griefing is so easy in the game right now, because there's no repercussions. You jump into your hospital gown, you jump into your cheapest light fighter, and off you go or shoot something. If you die, you respawn, you do it again. You've lost nothing. So it works both ways.
All right, so I'm seeing this the comment of the hospital gown thing. I'm just ignoring the griefing comment because it's so fucking stupid. It's true though. Like, there's no consequence for people being stupid and killing people at certain locations, whatever, right? Let's just ignore that one. It doesn't matter in this context. It is a problem. Does need to be addressed. But let's go right to the medical gown thing, because I'm seeing this elsewhere as well. The medical gown issue is really funny, because that doesn't happen in FPS PvP, because you need armor, right? What does the armor do? Armor in PvP has either, I never use light armor because it's fucking garbage, 15% damage reduction, something like that. Then medium, don't use that either. It's like 30, but I always use heavy. And the important part of the heavy armor is it's 40% damage reduction to all incoming damage on your heavy armor, right? I think the meta right now is all heavy armor up top, light legs, and you're still able to run a little bit faster, right? Why are people flying around in their medical gown? Because this company that you have supported with thousands and millions and nearly $1 billion had the bright idea of never telling players that if you are going to take X amount of G's, that you need to use a flight suit, or you need to use this specific thing. The only time they sold a flight suit was, or anything that represented a flight suit, was the moment Tier 0 item recovery came out. They sold those Mirai racing suits that were listed on CitizenCon 2023 to be what? Or 2024 to be what? Racing suits that had G-force reductions, or you're able to take more G-force. They had actual things applied to them. We are arguing about the wrong people and the wrong problems. It is this company that is putting selling first and game second over and over and over again. And then myself and Montoya get on Twitter or get on wherever and start arguing either side instead of looking at the problem. The problem are these fucking developers who are not allowed to make a game because they're constantly forced to build shit for a website, and that's it. That is the problem. It is so damn frustrating, people. It is so frustrating that is what pissed me off about that sale more than Tier 0 item recovery. That is a thing that you sold to us, people that actually want to play the game, that there would be some aspect of the game. And there's none to that armor. It's literally just a cosmetic piece. Looting anything is meaningless because it doesn't provide any value different than the thing that you're wearing. Little different now in the worm fight, slightly different, but not entirely, right? It's just, so frustrating.
The person attacking has nothing to lose.
She's
the
had
person
enough of
being
my
attacked
rants.
usually has they're the one which is losing the time investment. So he's reversed on that, because the people focused on the PvE side are the ones investing the time. The people focused on the PvP side have nothing to waste. You log in, put on your cheapest gear, whatever's lying around, and off you go.
Go back.
There is no, like, again, he's making the point for us. And again, it just comes from, it's very clear you don't play or don't care to play. Because if you did care to play, you would actually care that these items existed in the game that were worth playing for. People who are PvE, the examples that you're giving, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Right? They're logging in. What are they doing? It's just a social hour, right? And that's fine. Like I said earlier in the video, that should exist. That's okay. That can exist. You can have your social hour. But you're getting frustrated with the fact that, like, oh, this guy's losing, that guy is winning, or whatever. But we're not looking at the company going, they're not making the game, guys. They're literally not making the game. They're selling the stuff that they sold to you would be a game on the website. And the only people that have those bought them on the website. Can't get them in the game. And if I do get them in the game, they don't do anything. So I might as well wear a medical gown, right? Because it's just faster. Why are they wearing a medical gown? Because the inventory system is fucking dog shit. And they haven't made that any better either, right? Like, we're pointing our frustrations and we're making our points in all the wrong directions. They all need to be pointed at CIG, not at Montoya, not at Jesse, not at me. Point them in the right place. CIG, make a better game. Make a game at all. Stop just making things to sell on a website. Start making them worth playing for. Start doing things. They literally started doing that. I'll bring up tweaker attachments over and over and over again. They literally started doing it, and then immediately, bang, gone.
They have all their gear on. They spawn with their weapons. They spawn with everything. So I hope you listen to the community. You need to revert it back, please.
So if Star Citizen listened to the community on everything, I don't know. I'm reminded of that Simpsons episode where Homer designs the car. Remember that one? There's times when the community are absolutely correct, and there's times when the community are short-sighted because they don't have their eyes on the horizon on what's going to be the big picture. So focusing...
Do I have to even make a comment on that? Do I even have to say anything? I don't think I do.
On just PvP right now and forgetting the entire
Pot meat kettle. Yep. Pot meat kettle. That's all we'll say to that one.
universe out there which is still being developed, I think is kind of short-sighted. But let's take a look at some of the comments on his video here. My guy, it's tier 0, not permanent. Let's see what tier 1 changes go, and from there, absolutely
100%. And that's why you have to give your feedback on tier 0 and tier 1 and tier 2. And that's what we're saying. And again, Jesse says, I know, I'm just worried from their last statement saying that they love tier 0. That's why he made this, because that German interview with Jared, which was just really bad. Really bad.
Absolutely correct. Again, if you can loot, most people don't use the rare stuff. They will just wear generic stuff from any shop.
What is the rare stuff? 100% correct. What is the rare stuff? The rare stuff are cosmetics. Cosmetics should have been cosmetics. That's it. Right? Say that again, over and over and over again. The cosmetics should be cosmetics. Did it work? Okay. Okay.
Correct.
And that's
I
it.
never wore any of my fancy gear. I never took any of my fancy guns, which
Fancy.
I put on display in places.
Not good.
I
Fancy.
wore the bunker's outfit. Whatever I found in the bunker is what I would wear, and that's it, because I don't want to lose the important stuff. And even when they go to tier 1 or tier 2 or whatever looting.
My favorite thing about this is he's describing playing the game. Now, wouldn't you be happy if the gear that you looted at the bunker, you could just apply that skin to and look however you wanted? That would be sweet. Right? Your golden sniper doesn't do any more damage. It just looks cool. Right? The gear that you have in your hangar just looks cool. It doesn't do anything. It's like, it's very funny. He's like constantly making the points for us and not realizing it. Like, holy shit, you actually had to play the game. Oh my God. God forbid you have to do that.
Recraft, or you have to rebuy the gold helmet, or your executive armor needs to be crafted again from some rare items. You know what? I'm just not wearing it. I'll just wear whatever.
Again, making my point for me. I wouldn't wear it either, Montoya. I wouldn't wear it either. Because it's not worth doing that. And then guess what happens? Then nobody's mining, right? And then nobody's doing anything. We're in 100% agreement. We are working towards the same goal, but we're arguing with the wrong people. And that's the point of me making this video, is not to argue with you, is to show that the people and the points that we're making, we're not coming together and trying to find a middle ground and make the game as good as it possibly can be for you, who has less time, clearly, and me, who has more time, clearly, right? And not just as a streamer, there are people who dedicate way more time to playing this game than I do, because I'm playing 2 MMOs at once right now. I'm playing Eve and this. And I've barely been able to play Eve and streaming and all those things, right? So I have a lot more time to game than most people. I know I'm in a unique position. But when it comes to Star Citizen time, I don't put that much time into playing, but I still do play. I'm not playing Dune, no. Well, I might, but I don't like Funcom, so we'll see. The point here is yes, you will not and I will not wear the gold armor. So if I won't wear the gold armor and you won't wear the gold armor, then it's something wrong with the system and not the players. What's wrong with the system? Would you wear the gold armor if you can apply it to anything, or you can apply it to a specific set of armor that's really easy to get? And if you clicked one button, it would all just happen, or click no buttons and you just had a default setup and it just happened. And when you died, the money was deducted from your account and it was purchased automatically from players who were playing the game. Would that be a problem? I don't think so. Right? Just mark that as your favorite. Yeah. And then there it is. It's right on your sniper rifle. Boom, bang, bing. Oh my goodness. Can we find a middle ground where both you and I are happy? I think we can, but we won't if we're constantly fighting each other. That's the point here. If we're constantly fighting over stupid things like PvP versus PvE, we're never going to show CIG how fucking stupid they are. Like, you're mad because CIG is stupid, I'm mad because CIG is stupid, yet we're calling each other stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
If I find in a bunker and call it a day, I don't want to spend time crafting my own armor over and over again because I slipped off a ladder. Jesse saying, I killed 3 people that had on rare stuff this year, and guess what? It made more satisfying. Yes, but I guarantee you those 3 people had no idea they would not be able to reclaim their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably right. Like, I wish we didn't apply rare stuff. I wish we applied good stuff, and we just don't have good stuff.
I guarantee those people were just doing a box mission, wearing the gold helmet, and then going, oh, I guess I got to do an account reset now to get my helmet back, because that's how it used to work, right? So that's what I think happened in that case. Heimdelight saying, awesome to see those kind of posts.
Oh God, I'm delayed.
Jesse, a lot of players in the community feel the same as you do. Yes, there's a lot of people. A lot of the very vocal PvP crowd all agree. Tier 0,
Okay.
Tier 1, and Tier 2 of loot recovery are bad decisions for the game. We need full loot. Absolutely not.
Okay, he's saying absolutely not. I'm starting to think that it's possible that Tier 2 could potentially look like almost full loot. The problem that it arises with that is the idea that does it matter? Yeah, because it's still duping and will prevent their store purchases from happening, which is why they don't want it to happen. I don't know. It does have durability technically because it has a timer on it. There has to be a way to modify this just a tiny bit more, and I think we can find a middle ground on Tier 2. I think we could.
Because the second you go to full loot, I'll just wear my stuff from the bunker. I'll just use the random rifle I found on the ground. I'm going to
Again, dumbass point.
use my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's only a dumbass point because there's like obvious solutions that are better that can solve his problems and solve this person's problem. But he just I, me. So instead of dumb, selfish.
To reclaim my stuff and pay for it again. I just won't use it. Simple as that. It'll go on display on a wall somewhere, and there it will sit. There are no consequences for dying. There are also no consequences for killing.
Yep.
Absolutely correct. It works both ways.
That's the argument here. That's literally the argument here. That is the argument here. That is the argument. Hello? Open your fucking eyes, people.
Here we are, comment from Rabbit Crab saying, Montoya,
Crabs.
you are pretty based, but here you are wrong.
Star System was already created to be a loot-based shooter, because I bet you he's not going to read the rest of it. Star System was already created to be a loot-based shooter, but that's besides the fact when you lose gear, you should have to craft it. It means with materials you earn while playing the game, this creates a healthy gameplay loop. Yeah, but again, if you have to craft it, it becomes something that they will not want to engage with. So why craft it? Right? So like here's where we come, here's what happens then. If we come into the situation that we're in now, then let's say there is a gold sniper rifle that you can only earn in the game that has extra damage, higher bullet velocity, very, very good gun, right? Maybe a meta gun for all intents and purposes. And that gun is found by doing contested zones. Right? Or how about this? That gun is found by doing the PvE dungeons in Area 18 that we're probably never going to get, but maybe we will. Right? And Montoya has done those a ton because he really likes the PvE aspects of the game, like many others, as he says. And there's a decent amount of those rifles out there. What if they didn't? Let's say it's not even gold. Let's say it's just basic colored for this purpose. I lose that. It's gone, right? I died in the PvE dungeon. It's gone. I died in a PvP scenario. It's gone. I died in ship combat. It's gone. Unless I go and recover it myself, it's gone. You can either go the insurance route like Tarkov, where it's not gone if nobody loots it. It is gone if somebody loots it. You could do that. Or you could do the whole thing where it's just gone. And you have to just buy it from other players who were earning that gun by doing the PvE content, right? And you just go on the market and you buy another one, and then you apply your gold skin to it, and then you look badass like Montoya wants to look badass. It's not that hard, right? It's not that hard. There are better choices, but there are not better choices to push you to the pledge store. That's what you have to remember here, is they are not designing a game. They have no intent to do it at the moment. That's what it feels like to me. That's my opinion. It is definitely an opinion. It is certainly not any sort of a fact, because who knows? I don't work there. But that is what it looks like. They are making every choice to push you to the pledge store and no choice to have you in the servers costing them money.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Krabs. Star Citizen was already...
They love Montoya because he doesn't even log into the game. He just fucking spends Twitter's server resources and not Star Citizen's.
Created to be a loot-based shooter. I don't know about that, Mr. Krabs. Because as I said to you here, look, in the Kickstarter is a rich universe focused on epic space adventure, trading, dogfighting in first person. And yes, there is a PvP aspect to that. But in my opinion, and feel free to disagree, this game was never about PvP looting. And maybe it's just the way I see things. But in my opinion, when this game is really fully out, the PvP is going to be about territory and resources, not your rifle. I don't care.
It can't be if there is no loss. If there is no loss, nobody will fight over anything. There's nothing to fight over now, and nothing about Tier 0, Tier 1, or Tier 2 is really motivating enough, in my opinion, to create that territory control. And if you don't lose your spaceships, if you buy them on the website, if you don't lose your armor, if you buy it on the website, if you don't lose your guns because you bought them on the website, what are we fighting over? What are the resources for? That's the problem here, man.
Care about your sniper rifle. I don't care about the scope you have on. Oh, I guess, well, maybe in the beginning, if there's something special about it, then yes. But as it stands right
Yeah, if there's something about it, then yes. Well, guess what? You can't loot it.
now, I have no interest in the gear that someone else has.
This might be the most pointless argument right now at this time. I would love to know why you think that. I would love to know why you think that, because this is how you give feedback to the company who is completely undermining the video game over and over and over again. Excuse me, every day.
And where I see the game going is PvP will be focused on controlling resources and territory.
I don't know
That's
what
going to
just
be the
happened.
reward of it. But again,
Something stuck
this
in the
is
back of my
all
throat.
early. We'll see where it goes. But I think Jesse kicked off another interesting discussion there. We've had a lot. And as always, I expect my comment section to be lit with your insights also. Post below. If you enjoyed my content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Big shout out to my Patreon backers who are listed right here. Love you guys. And
It's incredibly funny how aligned we are. Because PvP players lose everything and PvP players lose nothing. There are no consequences. Nobody loses anything, man. What do you lose? You're just arguing you lose time. So does the PvP player. And Tier 0 is temporary. Yes, but we're also arguing that Tier 1 and 2 do not solve the problem. It is the most pointful argument ever, Spooner, because the problem here is that the next steps don't solve anything. The next steps cause more problems. They continue on with the problem. They don't solve the solution. They don't solve the problem. The underlying problem is that they want to look cool and not lose the stuff they bought. So create a solution that does that, but doesn't cause me to not be able to, I don't know, disarm the players that I just killed. Allow me to control Hathor for 5 minutes. Allow me to kill the worm after I killed everybody at the area. This is the most pointful and current conversation that exists in the game, period. Tier 0 is breaking the current experiences. Tier 1 and 2 will and potentially could break the future experiences. Let's come up with a solution now so we don't waste money. Make cosmetics cosmetics. Please. And thank you.